Thank you once more. As heading of or topic of my keynote already has been announced, I would like to say once more that yes, my work is dedicated to Professor Adolf Melicinek on my presentation, and I'm very happy that he has been my supervisor, my PhD thesis and my mentor for several years, and that's why I think the understanding of the philosophy of EGIP has been a bit easier for me. So I would like to start with his quotation. As Melicinek said, that professional level engineering teaching is both art and science. It is. We will have to take account of those thoughts because they are valid today also. So Professor Adolf Melicinek was the founder of EGIP in 2072, and he was a very long time president of this organization, but most and foremost, he was the founder of the Klagenfurt School of Engineering Pedagogy, the basis of engineering pedagogy today. So do you think, is it okay for teaching engineering this way today? I think not. And lots of times I've heard comments that principles and thoughts of engineering pedagogy founded by Adolf Melicinek are old, not valid anymore, they do not work anymore, we will have to do something else. Yes, we will have to do something else. I agree with this, but those ideas are not old at all. And this basis is a wonderful basis for moving on. So let's have a look at Melicinek's thoughts. He said that the aims of engineering pedagogy is to implement interdisciplinary thinking in teaching engineering. Is it okay today? I think it is. The methodology is to search for new ideas and theories, contents and structures for teaching engineering. We are doing it today and we will be doing it tomorrow. The object is to develop a pedagogical system of engineering education. That's going on today. And the subject to design and realize contents, organization of forms, new methodologies, and the process of engineering educators' development. So nothing is old and not valid. And we have to think about it and to develop it on. So this is the basis. This is the central idea of the further work in engineering pedagogy. So the principles of philosophy and engineering pedagogy are mainly in the questions that have been already posed up years and years ago, but they are very actual and very important today. We have to choose what to teach because engineering and technology fields are just so quickly moving on. We have to think how to teach because all the old methodology do not work today. We will have to find new methodology. We have to think how our students today learn, because they are slightly differently of those students who learned 10 or 20 years ago. And how much should they be taught? Perhaps they will have to learn something for themselves, how to interact with the students, which kind of cooperation should be held, how to enhance and motivate learning. And to thinking, where do we teach? Shall we teach in the classroom or shall we add some more e-learning or blended learning or flipped classroom to our teaching? And whom we teach and who are the teachers who teach engineering? So those questions are the basics of engineering pedagogy. They were years ago and they are still today. I would like to present the basics of engineering pedagogy, of Klagenfurt School of Engineering Pedagogy, built up by Melicinek. So he says the first thing we have to set goals and relevant learning outcomes and think, why are we teaching at all? Should we teach, or perhaps we should not teach this matter? Then you see the questions are coming, the philosophical questions, along with this Klagenfurt School of Engineering Pedagogy. We have to know what our students know and are able to do. So whom are we teaching? Which kind of students we have to teach? And then the next step, to design or choose learning materials. So what and when and how much shall we teach? Then we have to choose and design teaching aids and technology, thinking about with what, where, which learning environments shall we use, what technology shall we use. Choose teaching models, methods, and strategies, thinking about how to teach this teaching matter, and then assess and give feedback. And the last step is to analyze and perhaps to make our teaching and learning better. That means today we think about it is scholarship of teaching and learning. We have to do more research to think how to change our teaching more effective. So have a look at this slide. It's not old at all. It needs to be developed every day. And we have two possibilities which should be used both. Classical teaching, as we say, deductive teaching, starting with fundamentals, going to derivations and examples and homework, labs and projects. And the other way, the more modern way of teaching, starting with challenges, questions, problems, and going on to asking the students to define their problem needs, and then the teacher comes in, instructing, giving principles, introducing theories, using needable methods, and then our students refine their solution, and perhaps they have to go back and define the problem needs again. So there are two ways with traditional and the new problem-based learning, and they should be used both. We are moving towards the inductive teaching, but we will have to think about using sometimes also deductive, because when we have freshmen, new students, a little part of it, of the teaching should be made in deductive way. And when we have to look at the teaching itself, then we may say that yes, inductive teaching is more student or learner centered, and that's why it is good to use it. So one Melezinek taught some years ago, he said, yes, we will have to use deductive for the students on the first course, those who just start learning, and when we go on, we will have to move towards inductive teaching. So I think this works today also, more and more. And now, when there has been a lot of changes in engineering pedagogy during last few years, so when we started with a didactic triangle, with a teacher, student, and the content we teach. And we had to teach the content using instruction, questioning, integration. Now you see we add some more triangles. We have to add how teacher teaches the content using contemporary methodology, problem-based learning, team-based learning, collaborative learning, and using 4 C's, that is cooperation, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. And we also have to use blended learning and ICT in our teaching. Now add another triangle with students who have to learn the content and we have to motivate them knowing psychology and sociology, part of engineering pedagogy. And we have to teach them management and entrepreneurship also. And our teachers should know it. Now we add another triangle with student learning, with blended learning, and they have also be acquainted with management and entrepreneurship. And the last triangle with teacher knowing entrepreneurship, using blended learning. And as you see, here is the didactic pentagram. A teacher of engineering needs to know all of those components. And when you have a look at it, this is the basics of engineering pedagogy that have been working for years and years. Nothing old. Why shall we teach more effectively? Here is the evidence. When our students learned in the passive way in the lecture hall, as you see, the MRI of the brain shows that part of their brain was a bit of sleeping, yes? And when they learn in active way, the brain is more active during this learning process. But when we have a look at electrodermal evidences, Poe and Picard have made this research on engineering students and have a look at this. It is quite interesting. When our students are looking at TV or learning in the lecture class passively, their brain is working on the same process. And even when they sleep, you see, their brain is more active. So when they make labs or homework, they are active, but when they are sitting in the lecture room, they are even more passive than sleeping. So we have to use new methodology with our new students. This is the evidence. And that's why we need to teach our teachers for the new methodology, for using new environments, new methods. And EGIP curriculum, just giving the qualification of InkPad EGIP, is one of very good possibilities for technical teachers, not only at schools, vocational schools, general schools, but also at universities. And there are three fundamental premises that have been in EGIP for years, and I think they will stay. The first requirement is that when you will come to the courses of EGIP, you will have to have passed already engineering education. And then the second requirement for InkPad EGIP is that you have passed engineering education courses at any accredited center at the technical universities. And the third requirement is that you should have worked at least for 1 year as a teacher of practical teaching. So when you have fulfilled those fundamental premises, you will receive InkPad EGIP qualification, being a qualified teacher, able to teach effectively engineering disciplines. And what is now also very important is that it is important for mobility. Our teachers and professors go to other universities, teach there, and when you have this qualification, then you may say that you have all the required knowledge for teaching technology. So have a look at this organization of the education process. This InkPad EGIP courses could be taught after the short or long cycle engineering studies, after bachelor, master or diploma degree, and they could be just continuing education courses or master courses, or they could be integrated into master courses, and they may also be integrated into the long cycle studies of engineering at the amount of minimum 20 ECTS credits. And the basic curriculum, it has 4 modules. core, theory, practice modules, and elective modules. I have restructured those modules here on this slide according to what we teach at Tallinn University of Technology. You see, we have integrated all those modules and teach them interdisciplinary and integratively, so adding engineering education theory to practice and trying it out also in laboratory, in remote labs and e-labs, using ICT and different learning environments. And at the same time, our students will have to acquire presentation skills and scientific writing skills, and all those processes also involved in engineering ethic problems. And our students learning engineering education and lab didactics also use in those processes psychology, sociology, and intercultural competencies. And all those subjects are taught integratively, and during all the cycle of learning, they will have to do an innovative project, writing some kind of new teaching content, compiling new methodology or new e-learning materials, and so on. They will have to compile their portfolio, and when they have completed the innovative project, they will have to write a conference paper. This is all mainly used in team-based learning. So they are working in teams, preparing materials, new teaching methodology, writing conference papers. So as you see, the structure of EGIP curriculum could be restructured according to the needs of a university, according to the needs of a school, according to the needs of the subject you teach. It is like a Lego, and it works. It is not old. It is not just out of date. And I do not agree with those ideas, because if you think about it, you can use it very, very effectively. And when we now have a slight look at those requirements of EGIP, then when you would like to get accreditation of your center, accreditation of your curriculum, then you will have to fulfill the following competencies, giving those competencies according and due to the curriculum you teach. First of all, teachers who will pass this course will have to get pedagogical, social, psychological, and ethical competencies. As you see, and as you saw from the last slide, those subjects are in EGIP curriculum. They have to get didactical competencies in order to use new methodology with our slightly changed students. We have to learn new evaluative competencies. There should be peer evaluation, self-evaluation. There should be some kind of portfolio evaluation, presentations, conferences for students. And our teachers will also have to get organizational competencies, self-reflective competencies, communicative, collaborative, and of course entrepreneurial competencies. So this curriculum is available for teachers and gives those competencies if it is wisely used and compiled and constructed. So everything is in our hands, and when we fulfill them, these are the criteria for EGIP accreditation. Teaching methodology. It is quite a painful thing, but we have to remember that it is only a tool for a teacher. The main thing in teaching engineering is the content we teach. So we have to choose suitable content, new content that is not known for everyone. We have to choose for new content and then choose suitable teaching methodology for teaching this content. And yes, there should be lectures but they should be with active breaks, with active learning. There should be seminars, but there should also be webinars, tutorials. There should be labs. There should be problem-based and project-based learning, and of course team-based learning, and integrative, interdisciplinary learning. As I showed you just some slides before, you can integrate several subjects and teach them integratively. And now collaborative and cooperative learning used in team-based learning is very, very important, because our students go to work in companies where they attend also teams. They should be able to work in teams and to be cooperative. And simulations, videos, and so on, the methodology, those aids that help our students to learn should be analyzed in order to choose those methods that support higher level and critical thinking of our students. Learning environments, yes, there are lots of them, and they should be used, because you see, our new students want to use ICT. They want to use IT technology, and we will have to afford them to do it. So e-learning, blended learning, flipped learning, hybrid learning, and of course e-labs, remote labs, they are methods, aids that add some color to the classical teaching. But we have to remember that in teaching engineering, we never can go on only teaching by e-learning. Our engineers have to do something. They will have to be active in real situations, because when they go to work, they have to do the real work. So e-learning and real labs should be balanced. And assessment methods, yes, not only teachers should assess our students. They may assess each other by peer assessment. There should be self-assessment. There should be team assessment in teamwork, portfolio where you can assess yourself and show how good teacher or student you are. And there should be also examinations and tests and presentations and conferences and symposia. Very popular are group examinations, for example, in our university, where we use the schema that at first everyone makes a personal test, answering questions. Then they give their personal test to their teacher and start their team test, where they get several questions that should be solved, several problems should be solved in team. So it is in 2 stages, this examination, and it is very popular because students like it. They want to do something in cooperation. And a team project, innovation team project, we use it in our university the way that they start their project from the beginning of their studies, and they present the results at the end. So during the core and practice and theoretical models, they work out their own team project. For example, some of teachers do methodological materials. Some of them do new contents with tests and materials in e-learning environments. So when they pass their EGIP curriculum, they will present their work, and they should have implemented it also with their students. They should bring their feedback, students' feedback and results of implementation to the final group examination, and they answer the questions, they present their work. So this is the, along with the portfolio, the requirement for passing and finishing their learning. So portfolio is also a very important thing for teachers, where they assess their own work, where they show their students' feedback, where they show their compiled contents and materials used in teaching. And of course, the heart of this portfolio is teaching philosophy statement that should be written by every teacher, showing what is the main ideas, the main philosophy of their teaching. What do they think what teaching is, and how their students learn, which methodology in their subject is most effective, and so on and so on. Portfolio usually is assessed by professors, but also peer assessment is used so that the future teachers will be able to assess the portfolios also independently in their work. Conclusion. With some conclusions, I would like to point out that George Bernard Shaw says that those who can do and those who can't, they teach. Yes, in technical teaching, you see, technical teachers will have to do and will have to know how to teach. And in order to learn how to teach, they will have to go through training. And the quality of technical education really depends on the quality of teaching. So we can help to rise the quality of teaching in order to just rise the quality of engineering education. Well, teaching is easy. I would like to show you how one octop teaches to draw a horse. So first of all, draw two circles. You will draw a head and a body, then add a neck and legs, then draw a face and add some hair, and then add some details. So engineering pedagogy is a tool for teachers in order to get and learn those small details, how to make your teaching more effective, more interesting, more active. So if you want to get those details, come to learn engineering pedagogy. And I would like to end my presentation today with a quotation of Professor Ruben Cubero, US Air Force Academy professor, who says, as you enter a classroom, ask yourself this question: if there were no students in the room, could I do what I'm planning to do? And if your answer to this question is yes, don't do it. So this is the main idea of engineering pedagogy today. Our students will have to be active. They will have to learn by doing. And thank you very much.